Hello there, this is Sean Usher from Farnborough Rotary Club, and every year we raise funds through various things that we do. The Donkey Derby, as you probably know, Music in the Park, and of course our Christmas collections where members of the Rotary Club walk around the streets collecting money. And the funds that we collect enable us to fund different projects. Some are small and some are big. I'm very pleased to say that we've got one young man on the line today who benefited in a small way really, but has done a lot with £200 that we gave him. Because what we've done, we gave him the £200 and along with the rest of the money he raised, he went to Zimbabwe, and we're going to find out more about it. His name's Gyan Gurung, and you live in Farnborough, is that right, Gyan?
Yes, I do.
So you travelled all the way to Zimbabwe, but it wasn't on your own. Who did you go with?
So I went with a charity called Progressio, which is an international charity that focuses on youth empowerment, women empowerment, and environmental sustainability. And they carry out a program called International Citizen Service, or ICS, which is basically a program for young people aged 18 to 25 years old, and offers overseas placement on a voluntary basis for 3 months. Across different communities around the world. So I happened to go to Zimbabwe with Progressio.
Well, that's excellent. How much did you actually have to raise in total?
So my fundraising target was £800, and this was kind of across the board. And I ended up raising about £1,136 to be exact, I think. And as you mentioned earlier, Rotary Club very generously donated £200, which did help a lot in terms of me not just meeting the target but exceeding the target.
So tell us a little bit about your background, Guy, and how long have you been living in Farnborough? I believe you've been to university. What did you study?
Mm-hmm. Sure. Okay. So I'm originally from Nepal. But I was born in Brunei. It gets a bit confusing, but I was born in Brunei, grew up in Nepal. Then we moved here when I was 15. So I did my studies, so basically my GCSEs and A-levels here. I went to university in Royal Holloway, which is just in Egham, Surrey, and I studied psychology.
Has that helped?
Oh yes, definitely.
When communicating with it's a bit of a strange question, but has that helped? I meant in the context of when you went to Zimbabwe and you were trying to communicate with the local people.
I think definitely psychology is primarily just studying about people and how people work, whether that be sort of what are the underlying assumptions or what are the underlying values or conditions that are motivating behaviors from people. So especially when I was working with children who lived and worked on the streets, having that background knowledge of I had studied developmental psychology and educational psychology as well. And I did have a background in education as well. So using all of those, kind of being aware of, I feel like this is a sign of this, or, when you make connections that maybe perhaps other people might not see. So in that perspective, yes, I guess it did help to a certain extent when I was in Zimbabwe.
Okay, so give us a lowdown of what you actually did when you were in Zimbabwe.
Okay, so firstly,
not every day of every
sure,
week,
of course. I will try to be succinct as possible. So each team has a different focus, and our focus was for 3 key areas. So that was to do with sexual and reproductive health, child rights, and child abuse issues, and helping with income generating activities. So that we kind of categorized alongside life skills as well. So those were our 3 main key areas of work that we delivered workshops based on those topics. And we were primarily working with external institutions that was in the town that we were in, which is Mutare. So as well as working directly with the beneficiaries of the children's charity, which we were based with or partnered with, we were working with other vulnerable children groups, such as a group of disabled, a group of children with history of delinquency who were in a correction facility, ex-homeless children or street children and their families, alongside the direct beneficiaries of the charities, which are obviously the children who lived and worked on the streets and who were based in a temporary shelter, who were victims of abuse.
Wow, that's a lot of people you had to sort of deal with there. You mentioned in the middle of all that about making money, being entrepreneurial and making money.
Sure.
How did you get along with that? What happened?
So with that, we did the entrepreneur aspect, the practical entrepreneurial aspects of it, primarily with the street connected children. But with the other groups, it wasn't possible for us to physically do the projects with them, but we delivered more the theoretical aspects of it. So how to initially come up with a business idea, what does it involve? Kind of just thinking about, what the gap in the market is. And of course, we've been working with different age groups, not just children, but also young people. So we obviously catered to that. And a lot of the time, it wasn't necessarily so that they would go and start their business, but they would start learning skills that they could use if they ever wanted to do a business. So for example, we did a public speaking session as well. And we kind of held a Dragon's Den session as well, just to get them. So the point was for them to be creative and think outside the box and use those public speaking skills rather than just actually going out and doing a project themselves. A practical project that we did do was with the street children. So we did 2 projects. One was a garden project, but that was primarily as a source of food as well, but not necessarily just as a source of income. But another thing that we did was we ran a small project, a car wash project. And that was, we faced a lot of challenges with regards to the implementation of the project because we wanted to partner with an existing car wash or with an existing petrol pump. But we faced a lot of restrictions and issues with regards to that. So what we did end up doing was doing it at the center with the staff themselves, because a lot of them had vehicles. And this project kind of came about with the interest of the children themselves. And when I say children, the ones that participated were about 14 to, I'd say, 17 years old, so teenagers, because of course there comes the issue of, are we promoting child labor in a way as well? So with that aspect, some of the boys were already quite keen on learning how to do a car wash, etc. So we kind of partnered with a professional who works in a car wash nearby, so who came down to give them sessions on how to do it properly. And then obviously we kind of talked to them about customer service or, like what would you want, etc. So not necessarily just the act of washing the car, but other transferable skills that would be useful.
And it's not all about just making the money. It's, as you say, it's about
Sure.
learning the skills. Now, let's talk about
exactly.
What have you learned? Have you changed your opinion? Have you changed yourself by going to Zimbabwe?
Oh, definitely. It's I would struggle to explain in short words or small words, and I don't want to babble on too much. I do feel that it's had such an impact on me, but in ways that go beyond learning a skill, or let's say in a professional setting or in a working setting. It's kind of more personal in the way that I was able to gain a lot of confidence. And confidence I use the word confidence quite loosely. I guess I would say more self-assurance rather than confidence, because I feel that I was already able to do presentations, or I was already comfortable with people. So in terms of outward confidence, I already had that. But for me, it was more on an inner level of feeling more self-assured that I can do this, or I have an idea, well, why not just try? Like being a bit fearless with your ideas and not restricting yourself too much with the idea that you could fail.
Limiting beliefs.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Zimbabwe was a great opportunity to kind of chip at those negative beliefs that I felt were kind of stopping me from being a bit more out there, or being a bit less fearful of what might happen, and just kind of try it and see what happens.
Good. So what about now? What's next for you, Gyan?
Okay. So I'm at a point where I'm kind of making a lot of changes in my life. So as I mentioned, I'm currently doing an internship, which is coming to an end shortly. I will be starting another full-time employment soon with another charity which is working with young people. However, my long-term intentions at this point in time now is that I would like to focus or pursue wedding photography. And I know that's very different to everything that I've kind of done so far. But that's what Zimbabwe helped me with, in realizing that, I don't need to be afraid that I might fail, or if I do fail, it's okay. I can know that, and then I can move on to something else. But photography has been my interest and a hobby for quite a long time, and my kind of fears or my person of stable or wanting a normal job, per se, was kind of stopping me from wanting to pursue that. So after Zimbabwe, I feel more sort of self-assured that actually I'll give it a go and see, because it is a passion. So
good. Great. Well, listen, I'm so pleased you came to the club. So this interview is taking place after you've been to the club. You've actually given your talk, and we're really grateful of that. I know the members really enjoyed that. But this is an opportunity for people out there who come to our website and go on the internet generally, on a Facebook page, to actually find out more about how we're helping other people by raising funds locally. So I'm really grateful to you, Gyan, and thank you very much for spending your time with us right now.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much.
There you go. That's Gyan Gurung, and he's from Farnborough, and he has benefited from the money that was actually given to the Rotary Club during our street collections over Christmas.